Hello, my beautiful Earth Angels. My name is Joanna. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you stay. If you like what you hear, feel free to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and share with others who you think might benefit from these messages. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I love every single one of you. It is why I do what I do. It propels me to do what I do, and I love what I do. So this is weekly pulse. Please forgive me. I feel like I am I am managing two different realities right now, and it doesn't usually happen on screen, but I am being encouraged to record this. And the reason for this is I feel is that many of you will experience, if you haven't already, being as in split in two, or being in two realities both at the same time, which can feel very, very disorienting. And so that just tells you the level of energy that we are dealing with. It's absolutely monumental. I have never in my entire life have felt this energy. And I've said this a few weeks ago, and that was big. This is way bigger. The June 21st has a lot to do with it. It is an eclipse. I am seeing it as a portal where we are virtually, okay, when we are entering a portal. It literally shows me being or entering, getting closer to a portal. And this portal, this energetic portal, is the bridge between one reality and this other reality. And then I hear them say to me, it's closer than you think. It's only an eye blink away. And eye blink is to suggest seeing. If you are not used to managing big energies, this energy will affect you. It'll affect you in several ways. Aside from the fact that you're going to feel massively tired, which is going to be for most of you, most of us, for some of you, you will have bouts of anger, and it will feel like people are stepping on your toes and you're blowing up. And that's because it's like certain things have been bubbling to the surface, and it takes just a tiny bit in order to go and push it out of you. And also you may feel very much a level of this palatable resistance. And resistance comes up when we on some level fear change. And I've never seen this portal in my life. I've never experienced this. So me, as someone who sees things beyond the physical, I myself have never experienced this. And this is an opportunity for every single one of us to move or shift into a brand new energy, a much higher frequency that we are used to. And in fact it's so high, it's so positive that in many cases it will make you, the physical person, feel nauseous. And that's because the physical body is not used to experiencing these higher frequencies. So it's the sheer volume almost of light that can produce these feelings of not feeling well. So this is, even though this is for the week of June 21st, when I asked my team to give me a timeline, what I got was basically, consider this for the rest of this year, and then some for 2021. And I am not an astrologist. I try not to predict futures. It's not what I prefer to do. But this is a very, there it is, timeline where over a period of 6 to 8 months, and each person will experience this very differently, but we will be going through some pretty major shifts. I have been experiencing what I guess I would consider Kundalini moments. And at one point, I had to actually call a friend in order to help me move through it, because it was so powerful that the logical part of me was freaking out, thinking that I was going crazy. I wasn't going crazy, and part of me knew it, but because of the intensity of this frequency and the ability to perceive so much more than my human mind was able to grasp, it created this a somewhat of an unpleasant effect. It literally gave me an anxiety. So for those of you who are prone to an anxiety or being anxious, hear me when I say this: your priority in life right now is grounding. And that is not to scare anyone. That is to say, hey, we are shifting. If you are watching this channel, you know we are shifting. And one of the things that's being said or asked or asked to consider is make sure that you are always very grounded. Grounding thoughts, grounding behavior, grounding exercises. What is grounding? Well, grounding helps you keep safe and stable. And we are going through some changes, and changes don't feel very stable. So for those of us who are anxious, my type of personality is very anxious, and that's the gift, that's the curse and the gift, that's the curse of my gift, if you will, because I so quickly connect to higher frequencies. I need to really make sure that I ground. Otherwise, I feel that these energies are in control of me, and they're not. It's just that is how I perceive it. So grounding is hugely, it's, as far as I'm concerned, the word is elementary. I'm noticing what I'm doing with my throat, and I just hear bullshit has to come out. And I'm noticing lately on my videos that I swear a little bit here and there. And what I realized while I was running is that, wow, I actually allow myself to be more of myself, which includes sometimes more, sometimes less, occasionally swearing. And I realized, wow, I am much more sure of myself, where I allow that to come through, and I don't fear the oh my God, what are people going to say? And it made me realize, wow, I've changed. And I didn't even notice it until literally a day ago. And I bet you, every single one of you will have some sort of a moment like this when you will look back and you will realize that you actually started doing something without even realizing when, something that normally you wouldn't do or you would hold yourself from doing. And it's a really interesting feeling. It's a beautiful feeling, because you realize, oh wow, I'm not holding myself back as much, and I don't have to think about it, which means your thoughts have changed. So in that moment, I realized something inside of me has changed, because this just came out of me naturally. And I was just being more myself. I'm asking, does this make sense to them? And I heard for most of them, yes, it will. So if this makes sense to you, great. If it doesn't make sense to you, perhaps listen to it over the next several weeks, heck, for the next several months. There's something freaky with this message, and I don't mean freaky in a bad way or scary way, because that's not what I deal with. Freaky in the sense that we have a card that came up last time when I talked about the big reveal, and this is a card of Kundalini. This is twice in a row. This is not a small thing. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used 6 decks to give me some information. And this is one of the first cards that came out. As a matter of fact, it flew out of the deck as I was shuffling it. So if you're questioning or wondering about this whole Kundalini thing, is it real? Really? Let me tell you, if you believe in anything I say, believe in this. Yes, it is. And it is happening. Now, what this means at this time is, because emotionally speaking, Kundalini rising, which is essentially your own power rising up into your awareness, into your consciousness, it can become a little bit uncomfortable, and you have to maneuver it with precision almost. It's so what I want to say, because this is front and center over the next little while, and Kundalini rising is basically, I'm going to use my own terms, rising awareness of your power, or rising in consciousness. When you become aware, and it is crystal clear to you that you are so much more than you thought, and it will not be a thought, it will be a body awareness. Your ego has a difficult time with that, because what you are experiencing is destroying everything your ego has been living its life upon, which means your ego foundation, your belief system. And that's why I was saying at the beginning, it can feel like you're going crazy. So you are not going crazy, I can assure you of that. However, if you think you are, listen to this again and look at videos like it, because this is to say, hey, you might be feeling like this, but what you're actually feeling is a symptom of your transformation. Therefore, even though it doesn't feel particularly good, it is the best thing that can ever happen. So remember the portal I was talking about at the very beginning? Think of it this way. In order for you to get through this portal and get to the other side of this portal, let's use that analogy, you have to go through this Kundalini rising. You have to go through this shift in awareness. There's no other way. There's no other way. So what I want to say or invite all of you is to try and resist less. What does it mean to resist less? Well, first and foremost, notice if any resistance comes up over the next little while. We naturally, as humans, resist change, because change is very often perceived as loss. Loss is often perceived as something very negative. However, think about it. If you lose a bad habit, is that a negative? No, it's actually a very good thing. So just notice any word please, resistance coming up, because those are like hot buttons for you to look into. Resistance basically says, hey, time out, I need to talk about this, I'm not comfortable with what's going on. And then you get to kind of tune in and ask yourself, what is it that I am resisting? More than anything else, and more likely than not, what will come up first and foremost is you are resisting because you are afraid of the unknown. It's a very normal and natural fear. But once you kind of give that awareness some light, it seems to lose its potency. It's not as scary. You are still not very comfortable that you don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that veil, if you will, or of that portal, but you are not as afraid of it. And yeah, that's how I want to leave it. So when this card came out, I went, this is crazy. And this card has been coming up in my private sessions this entire week. And as a matter of fact, this entire week, the energy has just been, I don't want to call it crazy, because crazy may be assumed as bad. When I say crazy, I mean incredible. That's incredibly powerful and incredible. So for those of you who are aware of Ascension symptoms, you may experience a lot of clearing over the next several months. In fact, we're all clearing. If you look at what's happening in the world, we are in an energy of cleanup. And that's because it's like a nice analogy. When you invite guests to your house, generally speaking, you make the house nice and clean to welcome your guests. So we are inviting new energy in, and just like beautiful guests, we want to make room and cleanliness in our house, which is our body. So that's another way of saying that we are purifying our body and purifying our body through or from emotions, from certain emotions. So what is it that this is activating? What is this energy activating? And for that, I'll tell you what I'm using. I'm using a new deck. I absolutely love this deck. It's called Sacred Geometry Activations. I saw it the moment I got it. I loved this deck. I will do some messages going forward with those only. So what is this energy activating? When I saw this, I nearly fell off my chair. It's called Soul Time, and it's the number 40. And you can read here, and I'll read it in a moment. Basically what it is, this energy is activating a brand new reality. What I find even more beautiful than well, everything is beautiful. The 4 and the 0. 4 to me stands, and I've been seeing 4s everywhere. Like my friend and I are joking about it. I'm seeing 4s everywhere, even in the middle of the night, or I guess early morning. The 4 is number of structure. It's about putting forth new structures, allowing new structures to come in, which means dismantling or disabling old structures. And that's where the 0 comes in. The 0 to me is the energy of the Fool that basically says, hey, we are in an energy where we can build beautiful things, but in order to build beautiful things, we have to get rid of clutter. And I'm at a loss for words. So let me read what this says. It says, the frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. This is what's being activated. Our awareness of our immortality. Now think about those of you who are fearful of death, and many people say they're not fearful, myself included, but when I dig into deep, I am actually afraid of death, because death to me on some level is unknown, even though I know my ego doesn't, and that is very scary. So think about the magnitude of this energy. This is all I want to say is get ready for a wild ride, and that's all I'm going to say. It's like getting on a roller coaster, and I might have said this before, I freaking don't like roller coasters. I was on one at age 6, and I said never again, because part of me felt like I was actually going to die. So isn't this interesting that they're giving me a metaphor of a roller coaster? And no, we're not dying. Majority of us are not dying. Yeah, of course, some people are getting sick, yes, but that's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is our self, our concept of self, which is our ego, is dying. And that's like being on a roller coaster. And it's scary, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's all these things at once. It doesn't particularly feel very safe, but you can't help but enjoy it sometimes. It's similar to going to a movie and seeing a horror film. Kind of sort of like that. So it's all good, but I gotta tell you, we're looking at some interesting times. So this card is repeating itself. What's also repeating itself is the Guardian card message, and June 21st is the eclipse. So here's the full moon again, and I think literally this card came out with the last full moon or the last eclipse. I mean, this is no joke. It's I'm at loss for words. What this is saying here is guard your energy. Guard your energy. Okay, so the first message I get from this, you are protected as you are going through this process. However, you still have to take care of your physical body and your energy. And this is about you being mindful of your energy and your energetic boundaries. Being very mindful where your energy goes. Do you give energy away just to anybody who asks? Do you give your energy away wisely? Do you give your energy to fear? Do you give your energy to drama? You get the picture. And whatever that is for you, it's like, I'm hearing, there's no cutting corners here. This is all hard work. There is no, we can't just skip through to the next class. We have to go through this portal. And I'm just listening. I just heard be punctual and don't be late. I don't understand what that means. It's really interesting. Okay, it's like we don't want to miss the boat. Okay, that's really interesting. We don't want to miss the boat. It's like this portal is opening and it is saying, come on in. Come on in. You know, invite yourself to walk through this portal and you will come out on the other side and life is going to be different. You'll still have things to do, but your entire existence is going to be based on completely different structure. And some of us will go through this portal and some of us will not. And I guess that's what it means when I saw the vision last year. Yeah, around June 2019. I saw the vision split of consciousness. And we are in a massive change right now. And this change is affording us the ability to realize more of who we really are. But in order for us to do that, we have to go through this threshold. Okay? And some people will choose not to go, and that's okay. What will prevent them is fear of the unknown. But when they stay, they're still dealing with the fear of the unknown, so nothing really changes. They're just not prepared to do the work that's required and necessary in order to drop the weight and drop the baggage in order to walk through this portal. So from what I see here is there is a distinct difference between two types of consciousnesses. One that is moving through this portal and one that is kind of staying where it is. And maybe that's the birth of Gaia, where she somehow splits. I can't quite grasp it, but that's what's coming in. And I don't usually receive messages like this, but I'm like, hey, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Bring it all up. Be mindful of your thoughts. Thoughts are consciousness. What you think is what comes alive. Be mindful about what you think. Wow. The shift, the portal, if you will, is all about shifting our thoughts. We do understand that, right? I don't even have words. This is just so freaking incredible. Celestial Guard, Gatekeeper. And it says, timing is critical. And the message I'm receiving with this is basically what I just said. There is an opportunity here to literally walk through a portal. And it's like, it's like a opening in a timeline. It's not going to last forever, but it's been a really, 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 really long time since it happened. Maybe never. And we have this ability to literally catapult our evolution as humanity. So the message here is, because it landed this way, is don't miss the boat. So if you notice any resistance, look at what that is. Look at what you're resisting. Acknowledge the fear. When you acknowledge the fear, you are looking at it. When you are looking at a shadow, it's generally not a shadow as much. So this is all about allowing yourself to bring awareness, to be aware of your consciousness. Many things will come up to the surface right now. They will float, almost like, here I am, take care of me. Make sure, whatever you do, that you don't dismiss, not warnings per se, but I feel like we're all being nudged for example, there's something on my mind that's really weighing on me, and I know I have to deal with it, because if I don't, which has been my tendency in the past, if I don't deal with it, then it's going to bug me. And I'm very aware of that feeling, but it's just I can't bring myself to deal with it yet. So the fact that I am saying, okay, I have this feeling, geez, I don't really want to deal with it. And the reason why I don't want to deal with it is because I know I have to do something differently. And that, on some level, scares my ego, because my ego is used to doing things a certain way, and now it faces a vulnerability of doing something and risk of doing something very different. What does that mean? But if I don't want to be the person I used to be, then I have to stop behaving and acting and thinking and feeling like that person. So that's an example of what I'm dealing with. It's nothing big, but for me, it's big. For me, it's big. And it has everything, it's attached to my own self-worth and a sense and value, which every single human has to some extent or some degree. So the message here is literally don't miss the boat. If you are following this channel, or if you are following any channel like this, 99.999999999% of you are already in this energy. You're already in this frequency. I would almost say 100% of those of you who are watching something like this are already on board. Okay, you're in that wave. You're in that wave. I'll tell you another card that came through, which again, it just shows you the extent of this energy. It's called Dark Night of the Soul. New life brings new meaning. So this card has been popping up a lot in the last week as well. The Kundalini and the Dark Night of the Soul literally go hand in hand. Literally go hand in hand, because the dark night of the soul, to me, in my understanding, represents loss of identity. Loss of identity. And that's why many of you feel like you don't know who you are, you don't know where you belong, you don't know what you want, you don't know if what you have is what you want still. You're in that space, and that's because you are experiencing a level of loss of your identity, which is how you identify yourself as a person. Okay? And that's like being stripped bare naked, one strip at a time, where it's, again, not very comfortable emotionally. And I know some of you have been experiencing this, because I hear from you every single day. You also write me. You also are commenting on here on the channel. So I already know it's happening. And if you are already experiencing this, just the message here is make sure you stay grounded. Make sure you stay hydrated. This is not a message of bad news. I want to repeat, this is not a message of bad news. This is freaking exciting. But because it's unknown, because we don't know, we may not feel safe. Okay? And notice what's happening in the world. Notice the level of fear that's hanging over us like a cloud. And that cloud is the fear of what's going on. So it's amplified. And ego identifies with fear. The soul doesn't identify with fear. The ego identifies with fear. So when you're being stripped naked, fears come up, but you are stripping layers of fear. And it's fascinating to me. It's absolutely fascinating. I've never seen anything like it. Not only that, this energy is so palatable that literally I feel, this is a funny example, but I just want to impress the message. It's like I feel like I'm a magician, and I can literally create things from nothing to something in a very short period of time. So I almost want to say, I implore you, if you want to make positive changes in your life, if you can imagine seeing yourself peaceful, happy, whatever it is that you're after, and remind yourself every moment of every day of that feeling, I tell you, that feeling is going to be like a magnet. It's like, imagine, so we have this portal. You feel a certain way right now. Let's say you feel very confused. At the end of that portal, or the other side of that portal, you want to feel more magnificent than you've ever felt, and you want to feel completely open and just in your power. Okay? Keep that your focus. If you get diverted into, oh my God, what's happening in the world, go right back into, no, this is where I'm going. And it's what you will do is, like, you will create almost like a duplicate avatar, a copy of yourself, except this copy, this energetic copy, has a very different baseline in terms of its frequency, its vibration, and therefore how it feels, its state. It's emotional state and a state of mind. And the more you tune into that duplicate, I love this analogy, by the way, I'm going to use that for myself. It's just a matter of time, because the energy of the avatar, it draw you to that experience. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. I don't know exactly that's how it works, but that's how it's being asked for me to explain, which when I look at it, it makes perfect sense. They always try to make sure that it makes sense to me, because I'm a very analytical person and I love to understand. My whole gift is because I'm able to understand all these things, so that I can then make sense of it and present it to you, so that you can use it as a tool. Look at this card, Soul Fragments, repeating number 33. I mean, look at these cards, guys. Like, look at these cards. This is crazy. This is magnificent, but crazy. We are on fire. The energy, the charge, the power is out of this freaking world. Those of you who follow me, you've never heard me talk like this before, because I haven't ever heard myself talk like this before. It's out of this freaking world. Soul Fragments is all about restoring balance. It's all about restoring balance. And it's all about purifying the mind. It's our spiritual connection that allows our emotions, our bodies to be channeled for energy. Look at this flow of energy, flow of emotion as well, which means not holding back. This is amazing. This is amazing. I see some of you may feel like your hair is on fire because you're so busy. Okay? If you are that busy all the time, then you have to stop and ask yourself, wait a second. Why am I so busy? Why do I feel the need to be so busy? And I bet many of you will realize is that you don't know how to relax. And not only do you not know how to relax, you are afraid to relax because you don't know what it is. You're not intimate with it. You are afraid of it. It's unknown to you. And I know when you look at it this way, logically it makes no sense, but when you start understanding the different layers, it's so freaking obvious, it's not even funny. Like, to me, it's so crystal clear that there's a part of me that goes, how can I not see this? How was I not able to see it before? And I wasn't able to see it because my awareness, I wasn't ready to see it. And same with you. Okay? So if you are a very, 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 very busy person, now granted, you may be very busy right now because of what's going on in the world, but what's going on in the world is meant to expose certain things, fundamental things that are no longer working. Okay? And what is no longer working is the foundation that is structured or built on fear, based on control. Every single person has a belief system. Every single person has a foundation. The more fear-based your foundation is, the more it will be amplified right now, and the more it will become visible to you right now. And that's because by becoming visible, coming to the surface, you have the ability to face it, The only way to face a fear is to walk through it. There is no other way. You can't skip the class. Okay? Now, easier said than done, right? So with me, for example, the fear of the unknown, which is a very normal fear. Most people I've talked to have a fear of the unknown without even knowing it. The first thing I do is I go, okay, I have a fear of the unknown. I don't like how it feels. I don't enjoy it. Now, it's not something I would pay for to go and feel like a horror movie. However, I'm going to own it. And I'm going to say, even though I don't like it, I accept that that's part of who I am right now. And so what happens is, I'm not resisting it as much. I'm not fighting it as much. And strange thing happens. It's like the fear then becomes smaller somehow. And I feel myself being bigger than the fear. And I touched on this in my other video. And to me, it's something that everybody knows or should know, because we know naturally how to do that. We are designed to do that. But we're not taught. We don't realize we have the power to use our emotions to actually manipulate energy and emotions to get through different things. So what I'm saying here is, by addressing the fact that you have a fear and saying, okay, I have this fear right now, and just go, I accept it. I don't want it. I'm not accepting it because it's going to be that way forever. But for now, it is what it is. So because I accept that, I'm going to fight it less. And then what you'll notice is that fear, it's almost like shrinks. And it becomes the same size as you, or it's actually going to feel like you become bigger than the fear. And what happens is the fear is no longer overpowering you. You are more in control of the fear. Okay, you still have it, but you are more in control. I believe and I feel in my heart that what I described is an incredible tool that can alarmingly quickly reduce the level of fear in one's being. So next time you are having a bit of an anxiety or a bit of a panic, I want you to really tune into that feeling of panic. That the panic itself is not going to kill you. It's just bloody uncomfortable. Maybe don't start with panic first. Start with something small. Like, I don't know, you're meeting somebody and you're kind of a little bit afraid. Maybe start with that. Just feel that fear. What is it? What is the fear? Is it the fear of the unknown? If it's the fear of the unknown, then acknowledge it. When you are acknowledging it, you're no longer fighting it. You're not, you at least are stopping yourself from trying to get rid of it, which is good luck trying to get rid of something that is permanently a part of you. You can't get rid of it. The only thing you can do is transform it. And part of the transforming is facing it. So we are all collectively facing many, many things, both in macrocosm and microcosm, globally and individually. This is a period of no longer living in denial. What does that mean? It means this is a period of learning and acknowledging our truth, each individual person at a time. What is true for you? For example, if your truth is that people will always betray you because you have felt betrayed, that truth is going to make your life very difficult when it comes to relationships, because you will be subconsciously expecting people to take advantage of you. And not knowing that hurts you way more than knowing it. Because when you know it, you are in a position to change it. When you are aware of it, you are in a position to change it. And self-denial is very apparent. It's, let's face it, it's easier to deny something than to deal with sometimes, right? But then it ends up being double work, because at the end of the day, when you deny something, you're not really dealing with it. You are just basically shoving it to the side until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally gets to the point where vroom, it overpowers you. It has control over you. So any misunderstandings that you have, any conflicts, any inner conflicts, any battles you have with other people, anything like that, just notice your actions and reactions over the next little while. Many of you will feel, and I feel many do feel, I certainly felt it, controlled. You may not be controlled in your life, but you'll have that feeling. A feeling will arise in you that you feel controlled. And I feel this in my chest and in my throat. And to me, we are clearing the energy of suppression. We're clearing the energy of suppression. What is suppression? Suppression is suppressing ourselves. And that is done through limitation and fear. And I don't want to get into they are making us fear. Things and people contribute, yes, but at the end of the day, we have the power to decide. Never decide based on fear, if you can help it. Which is really strange, because a lot of the time we decide exactly because of fear. And when we do that, our choices and decisions are often fear-based. And that is an energy, but it's not a very sustainable energy. And so instead of choosing through fear, it's choose through love. I think that's a whole different video, but there's going to be some things come up, and I feel globally as well. There are certain truths or recognitions that will be revealed to all of us over the next little while. I know last year I mentioned something about, UFOs and things like that. I mean, to me it's like that's standard. That should have happened a long time ago. It's like that's old story. No, I'm talking like things I can't even think of right now. Things I have no awareness of. Incidentally, the big reveal for me was having those Kundalini moments just a couple of days ago. And when I realized what was happening, and then I remembered the weekly post that said the big reveal, I thought, oh my God, because when I do these, I don't necessarily think of me as being part of it, but of course it's for everybody. So this is not the time, to run away from knowledge. Seek out knowledge. In every experience that you experience right now, particularly the ones that are not so comfortable, seek out knowledge. Seek out what can you seek out of this experience? Use it as your power. Get something from it that means a lot so you can use it later. Use the energies, use the frequency, use the experience to make you stronger, to make you more resilient. Not always very comfortable, because it means we have to step out of our own boundaries and take risks and chances. But unless we try something different, we're going to be where we have always been. Okay? This card comes up a lot. Harmony, second chakra, fear, abandonment issues, mother issues or feminine issues, nurture, fear of not having nurture, not being nurtured, not having support, any kind of sexual suppression, because of shame, anything of that sort. This is what's being cleared right now. any basic feelings of safety in community. I mean, look what's happening right now. So this is massive. This is absolutely massive. This card comes up a lot. It's the throat chakra. It's about speaking our truth. In order to speak our truth, we first have to understand, become aware of our truth. I just heard, don't let truth escape you. Okay? Where are we going with all of this? Look at the difference in the pictures. This is what's happening right now, and look at what's waiting at us. It's light. It's settled. It feels fresh. It feels unencumbered. It feels like I'm still traveling, but I feel the light. Light. I feel light. This doesn't feel so light. So, I mean, we are moving to higher frequencies. So that is essentially lighter frequencies. So the fact that this came up and says, this is where we're going. It's just, this is so beautiful. This is so, so, so beautiful. I forgot to mention, I'm being asked to mention, if you are not member of the private Facebook page, please, if you would like to be, click on the link below, and there's a lot of fun stuff that are going there that don't go on YouTube. Also, if you would like a session with me or a healing session, that information is down below. Okay, so the 3 also represents moving past stagnation and expansion. I mean, shifting to this other frequency is expansion in itself. Okay. The firefly is an interesting energy because the firefly represents, number 1, it represents the mind, is how we think, how we formulate our thoughts, and therefore how we create our life. And the firefly basically says, this is a moment in time, an opportunity where you can shift into something different. Except whenever I say that statement, I always go back and rephrase. You're not shifting to something different. You're shifting to more of your true self. And there's a difference in that. Okay? So don't waste this opportunity. If you notice any resistance, if you notice any fear, if you notice any discomfort, just notice it, acknowledge it. Some of this, it'll just be pure energy. You will feel frequency and you will not know what it is. And I've seen many of you post below and say that you've been experiencing and this was scary. So for some of you, it can feel frightening. It can feel scary. I assure you, everything is fine and you're not losing your mind. But please stay grounded. Make sure that you are grounded. I have crystals all over my workstation. So I do that. Obviously, I meditate. I wouldn't be able to do this work without meditation, stilling my mind. So make sure you take this opportunity. So some incredible passages we're going through. And I'm going to show you one card. Last but not least. I had the scorpion in my vision, and then I shuffled the cards and the scorpion came out. Of course, I love when that happens. So this is all about fire. This is, if you've been holding back your fire, you might come out very fiery. So be mindful so that you don't sting too hard, okay? Manage your fire. If you have had any issues with anger and you have pent up anger, be careful or be mindful, because this anger, you may lash out at other people. Alternatively, this is a message to say, anything that you have been holding on to in terms of anger, look at it and ask it to be released. Ask it to be released. Okay? Again, opportunity here. There's a very fiery card. Well, no different than this one if you think about it, right? Lots of fire here. Lots and lots of fire. All right, guys. This was absolutely incredible. I hope you enjoyed this. I did. It felt very different. I almost said it smelled. It flowed beautifully. Again, if you would like to comment, please do. I love seeing your comments. Please, if you would like to connect with me for a session, that information is down below, and our Facebook page. I wish you best of luck. I look forward to seeing you soon, and take care.